Tonight's episode of Off the Hook is presented by the Boathouse. At the Boathouse, boating is a way of life we embrace and share with our customers. We are boaters and we understand your passion to be on the water. Our passion is enriching your experience on the water.
The State Fair Cream Puffs were named victors in their debut win over the Wisconsin Woodchucks 18-2. Alongside Wyatt Kopelman and Cream Puffs play-by-play broadcaster Matt Menzl, I'm Andrew Lynn. We welcome you into Off the Hook, episode 19, breaking down an entertaining win. Now, Wyatt, I'll start with you. The Woodchucks arrived at Capco Park just 50 minutes before the first pitch after their bus broke down on the way from Wausau. But nonetheless, they hit the ground running and recorded the team's first run.
Yeah, the Woodchucks really broke out of it early. Nate Haberthier giving up a leadoff single to center field, and then just a fielding error on the Chinooks' part, something that's not uncharacteristic, especially when you look at the left side. Doesn't matter who you're really throwing in there. You're almost bound to see a lot of errors, as the Chinooks saw against the Dock Spiders a couple weeks ago in that 7-error really calamity. And now for the Chinooks, they were able to bounce back in a huge way nonetheless, falling 1-0 in the top of the first, that is. They were able to bounce back, and I really tip my cap to them. Riley Swenson, Jackson Gray, Griffin Dorshing really stepped up tonight.
And yeah, Matt, Nate Haberthier bounced back after that first inning. It wasn't until innings 5 and 6 that it was a 1-2-3 fashion, but worked out of jams and really delivered for the Cream Puffs,
First of all, I can't get over the fact that I'm now the play-by-play voice. I never thought I'd ever be the voice of a team called the Cream Puffs, but that's the spot we're in here this weekend. But hey, 1-0 after a nice win here against the Wisconsin Woodchucks. And to kind of piggyback off what Wyatt was talking about, okay, so Nate Haberthier, they had the defensive error against the Cream Puffs. He was able to bounce back and overcome that error. And you're right, you look at pitching and, okay, maybe a little bit of a jam here and there, but he was able to work himself through 6 innings, got the win, his second one of the year. Both have been against the Wisconsin Woodchucks. He had a 7-strikeout performance. That tied his best also against the Woodchucks earlier this season. But it was about pitching and defense as the game progressed. But early on was offense. And I guess just looking at the offense, we've been talking all year about when would this team figure out, getting guys on base. When did that clutch hit come? When did that timely hit come? Well, it kind of came in the first 3 innings of tonight's game. And look at last night's performance in Fond du Lac. Hits were there, but the timely hits were not there. 14 runners left on base. That really wasn't an issue in this game. I mean, talk about a nice response. 5 in the bottom of the first, and then a 9 spot in the third. And everybody stepped up 1 through 9, whether it be with an RBI or a run scored. Everybody did something when you look at the stats and when you look at the runs put up on the board.
Well, to add to that, Matt, I think for the Chinooks, the biggest lesson that they've learned tonight, and over the past couple of days for that matter too, is that 1-run leads just really aren't enough in a league like the Northwoods League. I mean, they came in with the 19th lowest on-base percentage, or 19th highest on-base percentage, that is. So when you look at that, the Lakeshore Chinooks have been a team that struck out, really relied on a lot of power hitting. You saw Jackson Gray finally send one over the wall, and also for that matter down the left field line too. That was really great for the diversity of his game offensively. But going back to what I was saying just a moment ago, Lakeshore was able to just get ahead. It was a runaway victory, and I just don't think they've had enough of those. And they learned that the hard way also when they lost 8-0 to the Wisconsin Rapids Rafters, who they'd previously won 8 of 10 meetings against.
Well, it was nice to see a home win against somebody not named Wisconsin Rapids. This was the first home victory against a non-Rafters team since beating the Green Bay Booyah back on July 2nd. So it's been a long time coming. But when you look at the offense, who did what? Okay, you bring up the Jackson Grays. Jackson Gray now with a 10-game hitting streak. Griffin Dorshing had a multi-hit performance. He had a total of 3 hits and 5 plate appearances. But you've seen some of the newcomers step up in a big way, too, as they start to get more and more comfortable with more and more opportunities at the plate. And Riley Swenson coming through with a bases-clearing 3 RBI triple. But you had Matt Timbrook. He was able to reach base thanks to a couple of errors, a couple of different times. But he was able to pick up an RBI in this game. Evan Rice came through with a couple of RBIs. Sam Beers continuing to play awfully well since he joined the team by way of the Kenosha Kingfish, where he was earlier in the season. But again, some of these new guys, starting to get more reps, and it's now starting to pay off, starting to find that timing, gaining that confidence.
I think also, before we go back to you, Andrew, I mean, the Chinooks, they're not anywhere near a team like the Dock Spiders when it comes to just base stealing abilities, right? And the Woodchucks, they were able to get just a couple tonight. We saw Antonio Valdez start to make some moves on the bags. Again, not Chandler Simpson, recently broke a single-team stolen base record for the Dock Spiders against the Chinooks last night. But we saw Lakeshore just rely on not that power hitting, just the timely hitting. And some of those were into the gaps. Some of them were just down the line and for that matter, just through the gaps, roped up the middle, Andrew.
Yeah, you talked about the offensive production, but let's talk about going forward. what do the Chinooks need to do to kind of string some of these wins together?
You know, I think for Lakeshore, it's honestly not only having that pitching set the tone. We've seen guys like Tommy Lamb just come out time and time again. He only pitched 2/3 inning in that previous outing against the Woodchucks, a lineup he had never seen before, right? But if you're the Lakeshore Chinooks, these are all teams you're starting to face now, and most of these guys in your rotation have seen these lineups time and time again, and now you just have to rely on that run support. I think that's just been really the biggest Achilles heel for Lakeshore all season long, and when they're not hitting, really everything starts to go south. The gray clouds come over, the home runs aren't cashing in, and for Lakeshore, they just have to continue to get all of those timely hits and also just rely on a lot more walks. I mean, they gave up 14 free passes a couple weeks ago to the Dock Spiders, not to mention plenty of errors as well. And for Lakeshore, if it's all about the timely hitting and the walks, I think they'll be just fine to be able to finish strong. I'm not sure if they make that playoff run, but they'll be able to finish strong that way.
Matt, you have anything to add about that?
Well, but he hit it right on the head. You look at pitching. Today, only 2 walks allowed among the 3 pitchers that were utilized. Run support was there for all 3 of those pitchers. Now you have Joe Glassy giving it a go on Sunday when these teams meet again, and he's had some tough luck despite the fact he's pitched awfully well, certainly deserving of at least a few wins, but team's 0-8 when he pitches, including 4 shutouts. There's been little run support for Joe Glassy despite his work ethic, but we also are starting to see this team put together quality at bats. They've been very patient at the plate, and I know some of the players have said to you guys after games, we have to go out there and start to have fun. Regardless of what the standings may say, let's go out there, have fun, stop worrying about, hey, you know what, I got to get 3 hits this game. I got to start to up my batting average. Just go out there, have fun, play baseball, and hopefully the results will follow.
After 2 tough losses in Fond du Lac just in the previous days, the Cream Puffs finally put the pieces together on both the offense and defense side of the ball. Now, the Cream Puffs will be back in action here at Capco Park tomorrow for the first pitch at 1:35 p.m.